Welcome to the Central School of English Stage 9 video series. In this video, we will practice using the passive voice in English. To create the passive voice, we must use the correct form of the verb to be plus the past participle of a verb. For example, present simple passive is am, is, or are plus the past participle. The present continuous passive is am, is, or are being plus the past participle. The present perfect passive is have or has plus been plus the past participle. The past simple passive is was or were plus the past participle. The past continuous passive is was or were plus being plus the past participle, and the past perfect passive is had plus been plus the past participle. We use the passive voice in English when we do not know who does an action. Here are some examples of this use of the passive. The bank was robbed at midnight. In this sentence, we use the passive because we do not know who robbed the bank. My mobile phone was stolen out of my pocket last night. In this sentence, the speaker uses the passive as they do not know who stole their mobile phone last night. The train station was vandalized sometime last week. The speaker uses the passive as it is not known who vandalized the train station. We also use the passive voice when we do not want to say who does an action. Here are some examples of this use of the passive voice. Mistakes have been made by each political party. The president uses the passive in this sentence as she does not want to say who made mistakes. Someone has broken a window in the classroom. In this sentence, the teacher uses the passive because they want to avoid saying who did the action. A complaint has been lodged, and this must be investigated fully. Here, the speaker uses the passive to avoid identifying the person who lodged the complaint. We also use the passive when it is not important who does an action. Here are some examples of this use of the passive voice. Chocolate milk was invented in Ireland. A peace agreement was reached late last night. Aid has been delivered to the region since the earthquake. Over €1 million was collected during the fundraising campaign. In each of these sentences, the speaker uses the passive as it is not important who does the action, who invented chocolate milk, who and the government reached a peace agreement, who delivered the aid to the earthquake region, or who collected the fundraising money. In each sentence, the action is more important than the doer of the action. We use the passive voice when it is obvious who does an action. Here are some examples of this use of the passive. The meal has been cooked perfectly. The diner in a restaurant uses the passive as it is obvious that a chef has cooked the food. The staff were given work bonuses last Christmas. The speaker in this sentence uses the passive as it is obvious that the employer has given the staff a Christmas bonus. My post is delivered each morning before 9 a.m. The speaker in this sentence uses the passive as it is obvious that the postman delivers the letters each morning. The class is being taught each morning from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. this week. Here, it is obvious that a teacher will do the action. In this video, we have learned that we make the passive voice using the verb to be plus the past participle. We learned that we use the passive voice when we don't know who does an action, when we don't want to say who does an action, when it isn't important who does an action, or when it is obvious who does an action. This video was brought to you by the Central School of English, an English school in Dublin. For more lessons, go to centralschool.ie.